All right. Okay, yeah. So let's get started, right? So today's talk is about Debian package management. So yeah, before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm a senior software engineer with about 10 years of experience. I actually graduated doing a degree in electronics and then slowly switched to computer science over time. So I'm sort of a self-made software engineer. So yeah, and one of the things I've had to work on recently is this Debian package management. So that's why I decided to give this talk. Um, so yeah, so in this talk we're gonna basically look at all things Debian. We're gonna start. It's mostly based around a demo. I want to do some coding and show you not coding, but some commands on the terminal and show you how you can create a Debian package, how you can actually install it yourself, and then how we're gonna host this package locally. We're not gonna actually host this over the internet, but we're gonna host this repository locally. And after we've done hosting it, then we are going to use apt and the set of app tools to first install the package using apt, and then later update the package and again update our package using apt, right? So sort of from the very beginning all the way down, we're gonna play with Debian packages and see how it works. So yeah, let's dive into this. Yeah, I think that's mostly everybody here. Okay, so little introduction to Linux package management, right? So what is this package management to begin with? So I would say in the Windows world, we have this Windows Marketplace where you can go download applications. And then in Mac OS, we have like this App Store where you can go and download your apps. Just like that, in Linux, we have a package managers. In fact, I believe like Linux had this concept from the very beginning, well before Windows did. Um, but since in Linux we have multiple different distributions, um, so chat, sorry, 1 second. Yeah, so in Linux we have these package managers, right? And we have two main distributions. We have two different. We have multiple distributions of Linux. For example, we have Red Hat, we have Fedora, we have CentOS, and all of these three distributions they all use RPM. And for example, a command might look like sudo yum install vim. While in Ubuntu and a bunch of other Debian-based operating systems, right, based Linux distributions, we have a Debian package. So .deb is the format of that package. And for example, if you want to install Vim, Vim is a very popular text editor, and the way you install Vim is like sudo apt-get install Vim, right? So apt-get is the sort of command that you use, and apt-get deals with Debian packages, right? So we're going to look at this shortly, and you're going to understand what a Debian package is exactly. So what is the package itself, right? The package is nothing special. It's just a bunch of binary files, some metadata files telling you like what is the version of the package, who created it, a little description about it. Some optionally we can have some scripts before and after. So you want to do some cleanup, or you want to, for example, you want to edit the Linux distribution's bash RC or path to add some binary to it. So we have a bit of scripts that are available that we can write, but you're gonna see all of this shortly, right? So um, yeah, so let's see how we're gonna create a Debian package. This is just a small introduction. I'm gonna show you how to do it, right? Um, so first of all, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create like a structure where you want to actually install your binary. So assuming you have some binary that you want to install and you want to package, we're going to first create this package, this directory inside a folder. Then you're going to place your application in it, and then you're going to create a control file that's going to hold information about yourself, what version it is, the name of the actual package. Then, like I said, we are going to write a little bit of scripts, and that where we can write one is pre-install, post-install, and these scripts then will run before installing, after installing, and before uninstalling, and after uninstalling, right? And then we're going to build the package using DKPG, right? So DKPG is the tool that we are going to use for the first section. So DKPG is sort of the bottom layer basic application that allows us to manage Debian packages. So yeah, there's a few. Yeah, I will demonstrate this to you. So DKPG lets you like with a few flags, right? You have install and uninstall to add and remove the package, and then we have info and contents to also like view what are the actual files that are inside this Debian package, and how to actually or like information about it, mostly related to the version of the Debian package. So all right, so let's actually do this as an exercise. So what I have here is a virtual machine running Ubuntu on my Mac, and we are using Focal. Yeah, and this is a x86, right? Machine. So all right, so this is the home directory, nothing special there. So first of all, let's yeah, sure. Oh yeah, after the demo I will make the presentation full screen. So yeah, okay. So let's look at the demonstration. Is I hope this is big enough. Yeah, so yeah, DKPG is different from apt, right? DKPG, in fact, apt uses DKPG inside. So DKPG is, now you will see we are going to be using DKPG for this demonstration. So you will see how it's used. Yeah, so and it's the most simple application, and what DKPG allows us to do is to create a Debian package, install a Debian package, uninstall it, and view some information about a Debian package, and all of those actions that we're gonna do shortly. And I'm gonna demonstrate all of these to you. Okay, so first of all, let's so we are gonna create a traditional Hello World application, and we are gonna package it, right? So we're going to make a directory call. Actually, we'll create the whole directory structure. And let me explain why we're doing. And we're also going to make another directory. Okay, so we are inside here. Okay. So now so this is a structure of structure that we have created, right? So this use a local bin. This could be anything, and this represents the location where you want to install your application, right? So first of all, we'll go here to use a local bin, and we are going to create, let's say, and this we're going to create a hello world.sh. Then this is going to represent our program, right? It's a simple script. I don't want to actually create a program, but this could be a Java application, this could be a Golang application, whatever it is. This is going to be your binary, and for us it's just going to be a simple bash script. Okay, and then this is going to say hello. Okay, so, and if you run it, I mean, yeah, so this is the application that we want to package, right? So yeah, now we have this structure. We have, this is where we want to eventually install the application, right? And now inside Debian, we're going to create our control file with the metadata inside it. Text is small. Okay, let me try to. That's probably better, right? Okay. Sorry. Let me slow down a bit. Yeah. Okay. So we're back here. Let me exit this one so don't get confused. Okay. So, okay, so let me explain that again. Sorry about being fast. So I want all of you guys to understand what we're doing. First of all, so tree is a simple command that helps us to print the directory structure that we are seeing. So what I have done now, I have created a hello world directory, and I've created two directories inside it, Debian and user. Inside user, I've created user, local, and bin, right? So traditionally user local bin. So for example, okay, currently this operating system doesn't have a path called user local bin, but traditionally user local bin is a place where we store binaries. It's usually in our path, and if when we create an application, we usually put it there. We can put it in user bin, we can put it anywhere else, right? Yeah, so for example, here's a bunch of applications and it's installed in user bin. So if we want to put our program in user bin, yeah, we can put it here, right? So sorry, I'm going to get back to your questions at the end of the session so that yeah, it's easier to answer all the questions in one go, right? Okay. So let's now create our application. We are going to go into this Debian, and this is where we are going to create a folder, file called control. Okay, so now we're going to edit put some text inside this control file, and what we want to put is the package. Actually, let me just paste this part because it's quicker that way. I have already written it down. Okay. Okay, so what do we put? We put our control file is going to hold some information, right? It's going to hold the name of the package, the version of the package, maintainer, so my name, right? Uh, Architecture. Now this is, so currently we are on an x86 machine, but we are running a bash script, so it's supported by all architectures. So even if it is AMD, whatever it is, we will support it, and a little description about our package, right? So what, and that's all we need to create our folder, right? So now what we do, we actually, let's also add a little bit of we can add a little bit of scripts to do some uh, pre-install, post-install stuff, but maybe we'll do that later because we want to keep it as simple as possible for now, right? And now we are going to use DPKG build and hello world, which is the folder name, right? And this will build you this Debian package, right? So now we have a Debian package here, right? Now we talked about some DKPG commands, so let's look at those. And info, and we have our hello world program, so we do this, and this will show you all the information about our Debian package, right? So you can see, and most of this information simply comes from our control file, right? So we have hello world, version, maintainer, all of this information. Additionally, we'll have the size of it, right? And what about contents? We can also, like, so if you download this and a Debian package from the internet, you can always use this to first sorry, what am I typing? Contents. Yeah. So, and now we know that, okay, you know what it's going to do is it's going to create a folder called user. If it's not there, user local bin, and then it's going to put this application, and its name is hello world.sh, and it's going to put it there, right? So let's now use DKPG to install it and see if it actually works. Okay, so we need sudo access because we don't have access to create folders in this place. Okay, now we have installed our hello world program, right? So now if you type, so right now we only have this. So if you type sh, we have this application, right? So if you look at user control, user, where did I put it again? User local, bin, you should see this application is placed there. And if you want to remove this, we can do DKPG remove. Okay. So we need to type hello world, because hello world is the name, not the package name. We might have deleted the package by now, right? So, and it'll remove this. Okay. Now, if you do, the folder is also removed because we are the guys that created the folder, right? And if you try, there's no such file, and we have removed that package. So what did we do now? We created our Debian package. We just used DKPG to look at the information about it, the contents about it, to install it, and then to remove it, right? So that's the first stage, I would say, of using the Debian package. Let's I accidentally created this folder here. Sorry, let's remove that. Okay. So actually, let's also try to write one of these little scripts to see if it works, right? So you can always create so pre-inst is the name, chmon +x, and let's put some command in it, right? We are going to install. Okay. Now, so we can actually create pre-inst, post-inst, pre-rm, and post-rm, right? So we can create 4 different scripts. So let's, now that we created pre-install, let's repackage this. So let's remove this Debian, and let's install it again. We can recreate it. And see, now when you're installing, you can see that this pre-install script runs, right? So yeah, I mean, and you might want to do some actual actions in that, not just printing stuff, but pre-compiling or doing some added things inside our package. We can do all of that with in this pre-install, post-install scripts. Okay, so let me remove this again. Where is it? Okay. Sorry, you can ask me all your questions now before we move on to the next section. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So question, do every folder have a user local bin? We just created this user local bin in this folder, right? So if I create a folder called hello, it's just a folder, and inside this there's nothing, and we just have to create the folder structure ourselves, right? You can create user, cd user, and then local, and we have to create it this way. Okay, we have to create your entire folder structure. Okay, so let's go back to okay, so now what we did is we basically created a package locally and we installed it. Now what we want to do is let's look at how we can host this. Yes, this package is deployable online, and that's exactly what we're going to start looking at now. What's the importance of the folder structure? So as I showed you, like when I installed this Debian package, the location in which this folder, this application got installed is the exact location in what we created here, right? So if I created, for example, let's say my new folder or something, and then put it here, then when I install this application, it will create the folder structure, my new folder, and put the Hello World program there. So this folder mimics the actual location where it will get installed, right? So for example, let's say I wanted to create a new, I want to put this folder in a place called hello, then I would change this to just hello and have my binary there. Then it'll create a program called folder called hello and put it there, right? So that's the importance of the folder structure inside this. Okay, so now let's move ahead because we don't have too much time. So let's look at how Debian packages are used in actual Ubuntu, right? So for example, this archive.ubuntu.com, right? This is where Ubuntu stores all of their packages, right? So let's just take a quick look at this folder structure and how Ubuntu hosts their programs, right? So they have multiple program Debian packages, and they want to store this somewhere online so we can download it. So there are two main folders here that catches your interest. So this structure of folders is actually quite complicated, but what you need to know is two things. One is pool, and the other one is dist. So if you go into pool, pool is divided into main, multiverse, restricted, and universe. And this actually depends. The meaning behind this is based on the licensing. If it is free, if it is not free, and usually the most stuff you will find in main. Then they have divided it based on the letter which it starts from. So, for example, let's say we are interested in some package that starts with A. And then we have the actual alib or some folder, and in here we are going to find all the packages we want, right? So, and here's an example, right? Just like our hello world program, this is a lib program, but this file name is very specific. So the file name has to specify the name of the file, underscore the version of the file, underscore, and the architecture in which this file, the architecture of the computer this Debian can be installed in, right? And so if you go back, so it stores all the Debians, and the other main folder is dist. So this is all the resources, and dist is some control. So in dist, we have Bionic and Focal. So these are the code names for Ubuntu, right? Bionic is the old version, 18.04. Focal is the version that we're using now, 20.04. So, and inside there, again, we have main, this folder structure. And then we have, again, the architecture of the computer. So binary AMD64. And then we will have a folder called package and release. And we can look at these. Release will be nothing more than, you should be familiar with this, right? So this is some control file with some information about it. And then we have package GC. I will show the contents of this too, right? So that's also some metadata. Actually, we'll look at it right now. So this is some metadata, and this metadata shows like the version, again, blah, blah, blah. And most importantly, this will have a location to where you can find the binary. So this will have multiple packages, right? Of different packages, and where you can find it. All right, so let's do that process ourselves, so we can understand how it works, right? Yeah. So, all right. So for this, we're going to create another folder called my repo. Okay. And what we're going to do is copy. Yeah. So we're going to copy this hello world Debian file, and we're going to copy paste it into this folder, but we are going to change the name to its structure, right? So which is the name of the package, the version of it, and the architecture that it supports. All right. So we have this. Yeah. Okay. Now we want to create a similar folder structure to what we saw, right? So we had dist, focal, main, and binary AMD64. That we're going to create that folder structure, and on the other side we had pool, main, h, hello world, right? So we're going to create these two data structures, and we want to move this hello world thing into pool, right? That's where we saw all the Debians. So we're going to put it there. Okay. Now, if I type tree, you should be able to see we have created a similar folder structure to what we saw on the internet, right? Okay. Now we're going to use DKPG again. And this time around, we're going to, okay. So let me explain what this command does, right? So DKPG scan packages. This allows you to scan the available packages inside this folder structure. So it's going to find this. And if you have multiple, it'll scan all of them. And then it will create a control file, which is the packages.gz file that we saw, right? We just looked at it from the internet. So we are going to create one, and DKPG scan packages helps us to create that. And we are going to place it inside this focal, the same place we saw it on the internet, right? And it wrote one entry, and then we saw two files, and DKPG again allows you to create that second file. It's done in a very similar manner. One of them is zip, the other one is not, right? And now if you do tree, we'll be able to see that these are the two packages, and this structure should mimic something very similar to what you saw. And yeah, okay. So yeah, now we basically created a repo called my repo, and it's similar to what you see in the internet. It hosts our Debian packages, right? So what's the next step? Let's go back here. So what we did, we created this folder structure. Yeah, steps. Now we are going to use apt, and apt is what is traditionally used in Ubuntu systems to install their packages. And we are going to use apt to do all of this to install our package, to pull it from a repository. In our case, we're going to pull it from a local repository, right? And we're going to look at how we're going to install it, uninstall it, right? So how does apt work? So this is the Debian repository we created. Debian repository is a place which holds Debian packages, and it always has these three files. One is a .deb, which is the actual application, then a release file and a package file, which shows the package file has a list of all the packages inside this repository and the different versions of those packages, and the release holds some basic metadata. So this sources list file. So in your Ubuntu machine, if you go to this location, there'll be a file, and let's look at that right now, right? So and here we go. And if you remember correctly, this is the place that I went to a while back to show you where all Ubuntu packages, right? So this will always say deb. First thing is deb. Second, it will show the URL to the location of the Debian repository. Then it will tell you which distribution we're supposed to use. So for example, focal. And then we saw main and restricted, right? Then we list all the different subdirectories where you're going to pull this information from, right? So the first thing is we have to update this file. This file is where it tells you which repositories to look for, and we can have multiple of these repositories, right? We can have multiple of these repositories, and as you can see, so we are pulling from this location. We are also pulling from here, but inside the subdirectory is focal updates, and we can put our own name here into this file. But this file, so Ubuntu has made it such that it is kind of more easy for us to manage these things. So instead of putting everything inside one file, which might get messy, so which is the sources list file, it also provides a sources list directory. So you can create your own file and you can create it under any name you like, So we are going to create, I'm going to create a my list, my.list, right? Sudo, and we can put our package, our repository inside this file. So how apt works is it'll first look for sources, and if you can't find it in sources, then it'll go through all the files inside this folder and look for all the Debian repositories in there. So let me just okay. So that's what mine will look like. So this is the location, right? Home, Duli, my repo, and we are going to look for focal and main, right? Again, you should remember that we had this, and we can look at it again if you want. And this trusted yes is there because we don't deal with GPG keys. So usually in an actual repository like the Ubuntu repository, they will also have a GPG key to make sure that not everyone, there's some security, some level of security. For us, we don't deal with that because we are creating a simple local repository. So yeah, and so we add this to our sources list file, right? And if I do tree here, maybe it's clear if I just my repo. And as you remember, we did focal and main, so that's where it's gonna pull from, right? Now the first step is to do apt-get update, right? So the first step is to update this. Second step is to run apt-get update. So we'll do that. Sudo, and hopefully things will work in the demonstration. Right. Yeah. So when we do an apt-get update, what happens? It basically goes and fetches all these package.gz files and pulls it and puts it in this location, right? And that's what we're going to do. We're going to list this and see if our package.gz file ends up in this place. So when we do apt-get update, it doesn't actually download anything. It doesn't download the actual Debian package. What it does is pull all the metadata, which is an index file telling us all the available versions, all the available packages. So that's step one. We synchronize with all the repositories that we have. So we know what packages are available for us to install. Unfortunately, this also pulls information from actual Ubuntu. So that's why it's taking very long. Yeah, in the meantime, let's discuss the rest of this, right? So step one, it'll put all the metadata packages, and after we do that, we do apt-get install and the actual package name. So when we type the package name, now it'll pull this Debian package. It'll store it in archives. If the package is big enough, it'll store it in this archive location. Then finally, it'll use DKPG install to install the package into our system, right? So that's how that works. Yeah. So yeah, so let's look at apps commands again, right? So apt-get update, that's first step. It just pulls the metadata from the Debian repository. Apt-get upgrade and apt-get dist upgrade. So there are two versions. One, these will only update the packages that you've already installed. It won't install new packages. It'll only install something that is already installed. And apt-get install is the way we add a new package into our system, right? So apt-get upgrade and dist upgrade, these two things vary a little bit. Upgrade is safe. It doesn't go ahead and remove things that is not found, for example. While dist upgrade is a bit more dangerous in the sense that it could remove some dependencies. If there's some dependency or something that has changed drastically, it'll remove this dist upgrade. So I guess a fun exercise is like, how does an OS upgrade work, right? So for example, when you're in an 18.04 Ubuntu version and you want to update it to 20.04, what actually happens? So I mean, there are simple commands that you can type into your Linux terminal and it'll upgrade, but underneath the hood, it still uses this Debian package management system to do everything, right? So the first thing it does is it goes and changes this source file, right? And we saw that in our source file, we had like focal specified or bionic specified. So it'll change this so that if it's bionic, it'll change that to focal, so that now it's pointing to, so if you go here, for example, let's go back here so it's more clear, right? So these are the OS versions, right? So bionic is 18.04 and focal is the name for 20.04. So if you're upgrading from bionic to focal, the sources list file, original sources list file will have bionic written in it. So it will get changed to focal, and then it'll do apt-get update. And when it does apt-get update, it'll pull all the new packages from focal, and then it'll do apt-get dist upgrade. And dist upgrade is a dangerous update. So for example, like let's say hello world program that we created, we only pushed it into bionic, and it's not found in focal. So after we do dist upgrade, you will find that suddenly our hello world program has disappeared, right? Because it's no longer supported in focal. That's why I said it's like a bit more dangerous. Yeah, so next is update. Okay, so it's done. So we have pulled all the metadata. Now let's look at this location, right? So this, well, the lists. So this is where it pulls all the metadata files, and you can see there'll be a lot of packages and release files in here. So one of them is going to be our one, and here it is. Yeah, here's our package file, right? So like let's say this, so we have that, and if we can list the contents of it just to see that, just to convince ourselves that it is our package. Yeah, so here we go. It has pulled our package. And yeah, one thing, these metadata files, I remember like in our repository it was separated into meta, into dist and pool. This metadata file always shows the location where the actual Debian is found, right? So it knows that in the Debian repository, this is where it will find the actual contents of this package, right? So now we will install this by doing sudo git install. Yeah. Yeah. And one newly installed program. Now again, if you type hello world.sh, it's available, right? Now that we've installed the package through apt-get, let's update it, right? So how does the upgrade process work, right? So for example, let's go back into our repository and let's update hello world. So let's go in here. Yeah. So let's change this to hello world. This is version 2. And again, we rebuild it. So we'll remove this program and we rebuild it. And this should be 2. Right, this is a new version. So now if you do 3, you should see that there are 2 packages here. Then we do the same steps again, right? Which is recreating our package.gz file and our release file. Now here there's a warning, and this is kind of important. So there are multiple. So DKPG is probably the most simple command to use to create our repository. But the problem with this is it only manages, like, it can only handle one version of a package at a time. It can't create two different versions. But there are other tools. For example, Apply is a nice tool that helps you to create these Debian repositories. You don't have to create it manually, and those can handle multiple versions of the same file, right? But let's make sure that we have the new version installed. So if you go to this focal this, oh, this is still storing version 1. So let's remove the first version so that let's recreate these files in hope that it will select the new version, so that now we've basically removed the old version and created a new one. Why is that? Sorry, I forgot to update the control file. That's why. Sorry, that's my mistake. So we forgot to update this control file, right? So this is where we obviously have the versions. So we need to obviously change this as well when we are creating the new Hello World package, right? And now let's let me just and that. That, right? Okay, now let's again make sure. Okay, so version 2, right? So now we have updated our repository to hold a newer version. Now what we need to do is sudo apt-get update upgrade. Update first. Update first because we want to pull the latest metadata, and latest metadata has the new version. Hopefully this time it won't take us much time. All right, and then sudo right, and this will update all our packages, actually, not just hello world. It'll update. Now we just updated our repositories to hold the newest versions, and now when we do update, sudo apt-get oh sorry, I should type upgrade, not update. So apt-get update will update it from the repository, and then upgrade, and this should upgrade hello world. So you want to say yes. So it says like one upgrade package, everything else nobody has upgraded. So when you say yes, we should ideally see hello world, and this says here we go, hello world all 2. So yeah, now if you type, it has updated to the latest version, right? So yeah, and that's how you do an upgrade, right? So in simple, we looked at how we create a package from DKPG. That's how you create your own Debian package. How we can host it locally. We can mimic the folder structure of a Debian repository, and we can host our package. And then we used our apt-get commands to first apt-get update to get the metadata, then to apt-get install a brand new package, or apt-get upgrade to install or update the versions of all your packages, right? So that's yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my talk. So any questions? Oh yeah, so by the way, I've also posted this information in my HackerRank blog post, so you can take your time to go through it slowly. And this basically goes through the same process that we did. Maybe it's lacking a little bit of information, but yeah. So have a look, and I've also have some references if you want to know even in detail about the internal structure of a Debian package. This stuff is a bit complicated, and you can look into it. So hopefully this will make things simple for you. Yeah, so yeah, if you have any questions, shoot it my way. Yeah, so yeah, thanks. Right, I guess there are no questions, right? I hope it was enough information and I was clear. So yeah, my LinkedIn is Dulitha G. Yeah, you can follow me there. All right then. Yeah, if that's it, I'm gonna stop sharing. And yeah, feel free to ask me questions on LinkedIn. All right, thanks. Okay then. All right, thanks guys. Have a good one. Bye bye.